What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for August 2nd. We're going to hop right on in here, see where the day takes us, what creative energies are in store, and looking at energies that could, prevent towers and just make life smoother, easier, right? So let's dive right on in here. I hope that my fellow Canadians watching had a great long weekend if you had the day off. Here in Canada, we had, well, Ontario, I guess. I say Canada, but it's Ontario. We had a holiday on Monday on the 1st. So that was our August long weekend. Okay. I love the colors on this. Oh, that's lovely. This little, that's a delight. Okay. So the back of this one says, hope floats. I'm seeing a gigantic unicorn float thing that you would put in a pool. Floaty, is it called that? I don't know, but we'll read what's on the back of the card, and we'll see why there's a pool floaty that jumped out. So this one, to kick off the reading, says, you are fierce. And I would have to agree, my lovelies. You are fierce. Dearest you, there's only one you, and you have a unique path and a special purpose. You're supposed to have specific experiences in this world and meet certain people, but then it is up to you how you live, how awake you choose to be, and how willing you are to grow and strip away what's false. Don't compare yourself to others. It's easy to think a person is happier just because their outside looks good, according to society's standards, but you can't know anyone's internal experience. Compare yourself only to your past self. See how far you've come. Don't be distracted by what others are doing or accomplishing. Stay focused on what inspires you. That's how you get successful and find happiness. Want what you have now, not what someone else has. We love you immensely and know your journey ahead is sparkling with miracles and wondrous things. Trust. Loving you forever and ever. Yeah. It's almost like just like I can't remember where I heard the quote, but it's like, make the person and energy that you compare yourself to yourself, right? Like don't compare to other people, because you don't know their story, you don't know what's going on for them. And it also kind of illuminates the way that we need to look at how we're embodying envy and competition within ourselves and in connections and relationships, like of all kinds that we have, right? I think it was Awakening to Spirit that talked about that in a reading, just, like that sense of like envy and competition. And it's just so weird when we get into that energy. And it's just so strange, because it's like, what is it for, right? Like, how does that serve? Because even like competitiveness serves to an extent, but it doesn't really, I don't know. It's difficult in my own energy for me to create new when it's like, when you're in that place of always looking to see what other people are up to, because your magic here is so potent. And it's like anybody can do anything that another person does, but it's the unique touch that you have, right? It's like I love watching. I mean, I see this in the tarot community so much, right? Like I feel like, for example, Nicholas Ashbaugh, his readings are great for collective. Minnow Pond Tarot, amazing ways of taking motivational tools and building them in. Awakening to Spirit. So Cindy has these amazing visions of things, sense of humor, and the way that she runs like the jokes into it, and just the so much of her in it, right? I think about Sand Tarot, and how there's like these mystic freaking visions that come into the readings that are brilliant. Austin's Tarot, like I could go on and on. There's so many that I watch, but it's like every single one of them does the same thing. We all do tarot, but the way that they do it is just so damn different. And that is really what this is about, right? Like, it doesn't matter what your industry is. Saturated markets are not a thing, because if you really love what you're doing and put you at the forefront of it and put you into it, everything else will just come, right? So if that's where I'm just like, meh. Like, let the feeling that you need to be everything or anything other than yourself fade away, right? That's coming through very strong. Yeah, I was talking to friends about that this weekend, actually. I had my Charlie Day party at my friend's house, and it was phenomenal. But we started talking about mediumship because my friend's Nana came through, and just somebody else's great aunt came through. And yeah, it was so interesting to me, right? But it's like talking to them about it and just being able to be and not have to justify or explain anything. It's like the message of just being you came through very strongly. So, so we have the Knight of Cups and the King of Swords. We have the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands. What else do we have, Spirit? I almost get this as like you looking at some version of yourself. Like the King of Swords looking at the Knight of Cups in this way reminds me, it's almost like this sort of like, not like hardened after battle, but like the wisdom that you gained along the way from all of the times that you took risks and offered of yourself. And like it's just this way that you're wiser now for something that happened. You're wiser now. And I feel like it's like the Knight of Pentacles is here. If this is work related, it's like this way that you're looking back from more of a leadership position. And this doesn't relate to titles or anything like that, because I feel like this is like, there's the book by Robin Sharma, right? Lead without a title. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need that. It's kind of I mean, it's helpful because it structures what you do, but you can lead from wherever you are in an organization that's hierarchical, right? You can lead from across. And I almost feel like this is like, adopting this way of seeing the way that you offered your excitement, your passion to what you did and what you do. And I think the call was to offer yourself more slowly. Like that's where it's like there's this pace of investment now. There's this slow investment that you're able to present and bring to the fore. Yeah, and I think that there's new arriving here, but I think it's like the way that these ideas are coming to the foreground, it's like they feel different because you are different. They feel different because you're different. I don't know whether it's this comparison piece or, because it talked about comparison here, but I think it's just like you're supposed to have specific experiences in this world and meet certain people, but then it's up to you how you live, how awake you choose to be, and how willing you are to grow and strip away what's false. Yeah, it's like what's the false stuff, and I think that's sort of this reflection here about how you did that before and how you've done that. And so we have the Knight of Pentacles and Ace of Wands. What else do we have here, Spirit? And I'm hearing mind reading. Like this isn't, sometimes it feels like telepathy is something I have, but I don't know what to even do with it yet. I'm trying to figure that out in terms of like harnessing it in a way that's constructive for the collective, because yeah, it's just freaky sometimes. But I feel like this is like also freeing yourself, like liberating yourself from feeling like you have to mind read, and that can be something that blocks our creativity, right? Like you have to figure out everything. Like it's like freeing yourself from that chain where you're just like, no, I'm not. Like this is you focusing inward and going inward for your creative inclinations and ideas, right? That instinct that you have. I'm hearing fire in the belly. So it could be like a new idea that you're really jazzed about. And that's where it's like, this is like the call to adventure in this hero's journey spread is really like this slower, it's like not just a slower pace, but I feel like it's a more intentional and process oriented method of doing things, because you can be as fired up as you want, but it's like this reflection and comparing yourself only to you, right? Comparing yourself only to you helps to free up. It frees up your emotional and mental faculties so that when you get ideas that just jazz you up, you can do something with them, right? You can take them somewhere, and it's like you can take them from within you and then offer them in a way that's really, it's not just, I want to say organic, but it's like, it's something more than that. It's something more than that. It's literally like planting seeds for the collective, Well, yeah, because the King of Swords, I'm thinking, Aquarian energy here, but it's like planting seeds for the collective in that way. And so the Two of Swords here, And also, I should say too, like I do watch. I don't know why this is coming up again. This is possibly something from my own deal, but there are other readers that I watch too that I did not mention in the beginning, and that's not anything against them. It's not trying to leave anybody out, right? It's not anything like that. It's just I didn't have enough time. Like there's like tons of Canadian readers that I watch too, right? Like I know there's Monica Louv, and then there's also watching like there's just a lot. So I'm saying that like yeah, I feel like I want everybody to always feel included. And I know that that's not possible. And that's also like people pleasing and blech, but it's also just this sense of like, I want everyone to shine. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like so good at what they do that it's like, I want everyone to shine. Yeah, that's that energy. I want everyone to shine. Maybe that's what this is. Part of this is like this is showing up in the antagonist position. So maybe it's like, hold on, let me get the rest of this message before I start to translate energy. So we have the Lovers and the Sun. Six of Swords and the Nine of Cups. I almost feel like you're choosing yourself here. Like I do. I feel like you're choosing yourself, and not in a way that's selfish or anything like that. Because, growing up, I know for myself, it was a lot of like choosing yourself, because doing that in situations that were inhospitable to growth and inhospitable to personal development, and just like caring for yourself and tending to yourself. It's like, it doesn't, yeah, like it's like you get messages that you're selfish when you're not, right? So just know that that's something here. But I feel like this is things that could become a tower if they go unchecked. I think it's a little bit of this Two of Swords where it's like feeling like you don't have enough information. Because the thing that I'm learning at the very least about ideas and things like that, it's like all you need is the idea, and you need the you in it and the idea, right? And anything else is just nonsense. Anything, and not nonsense in compared to the ways that your ideas will change not only you but others when you put them into the world. It's like the details matter less. The how matters less, because the fire inside of you is communicating to you through that idea. And it's speaking to you profoundly. So it's like, yeah. And I think that that's sort of a carryover of like, this is like, when you're stuck in the details, it's like you're waiting for someone to save you, and you're going to save you. No one's going to come and do that for you, right? Like, yes, sometimes it's super fucking hard. It's really uncomfortable. It's inconvenient sometimes, right? Life happens that way. But when you're clear about you and you show up wholly and fully and completely, right? Wholly and completely, you don't need to the details don't matter as much. They do. They still do. But it becomes like a goal, like a goal and plan. It's not, it's like a process. It's like, it's implementation. The ideas, though, it's almost like I'm hearing mysticism. There's like something, I think that there's something about that process. The Chariot is, in the protagonist position, which tells me that I feel like momentum is on your side, basically. Momentum is on your side in this reading. And this is also, I think it was Sassy Scorpion Tarot talked about this in one of her readings. I think it was Taurus, the most recent one, where she talked about how it's like the chariot. I'm blending words together here. But it's like the Chariot is this aspect of like, there's like emotional maturity, but then there's like knowing what to do with it. And I get that this is like the maturation of an idea or creative spark. If this is a relationship, it's like, this could be, if you're in a relationship already, this could be like taking an idea that you share or something that you want to do together and bringing it to fruition, or putting something into place that allows that to unfold within the construct of the relationship as it exists. If you're not looking, like if you're not in a relationship, but you're looking, I feel like this is positive momentum towards that end. And I feel like there's something about choosing yourself, right? Like this is like, if this is the way it came across was like this sort of clarity about who you were, where you've been, and how. And there's like a wisdom to this. That's the owl here. Wisdom and clarity, right? Like you're not over analyzing anymore because you understand the value of making progress, not altogether slowly, but it's like you're making slow enough progress that it's helpful to you, that it's helpful. And I think it's like this grounding. It's almost like this grounding energy. Like ideas, it's easier to ground ideas, right? For me, grounding is like a process of writing it down. It's not some like magical thing. I know that there's other energetic ways to work with that, but for me, it's very much just a process of writing down, right? And that like an idea can it's almost like it's like my brain can breathe when they get on like pen to paper. But yeah, this Two of Swords is like pulling away from confusion because there's momentum here. And it's like you have an idea, not just of where you want to go, but how, right? And it's like the eager, excited place in your heart at this idea or this spark or this, like, hey, we should try that new place, or whatever that means. I don't know. I'm thinking like if you're in a relationship or, Baba Jolie readings talked about retirement spreads. I was like, that's fucking brilliant, right? But it's like, so if you're retired, that can be, an idea that you want to take and build into a project, not just a hobby, right? Because hobbies are important. And I think it's important that we can do things that don't require, becoming a thing, right? Like we all need that outlet. We all need that space where we can just be profoundly bad at something. And it's such a gift because it's your expertise is not necessarily measured. You just do it for you, right? But I think that's a little bit of what this is. It's almost like a looking back here. And, the way that this is showing up, it could be a retiree. It could be speaking to someone who's looking at a different place in their career or like a different area of their career or when they were younger and how they would do things before. And now you're reflecting, right? But the Chariot is Cancerian energy. And I also feel like, I feel a little bit like it's an emotional energy and it's emotional energy. Yes. It's also connected to the fourth house, which is sort of familial inheritances. So you could be thinking, not just in terms of like, I'm not talking about financial inheritances. I'm talking about like ancestral energetic ones, right? To do with mother energy. And this is not just about, this is how you nurture ideas, right? Like, how do you nurture ideas? Do you look for the details right away? Or do you allow the idea to just be like, to just simmer, right? Just to simmer. Because when I was younger, in my home ec class, we, we made soup, this chicken noodle soup. It was very basic. But what I loved to do is to let it simmer just on like very, very low heat for like 4 hours, and the flavor that was in it because of the spices that we would use and things like that, it was like, oh, so good. It's just chicken noodle soup, but it struck me that at my grade 6 however years old, impatience with things, that level of impatience, it's like there's something that's simmering. That could be the other message here too. There's a lot. So this is like there's a lot in this sort of vignette off to the side here. But I think the antagonist position is possibly coming through, where maybe you feel like your energy's in a bunch of different directions, right? And it needs focus. You know where you need to go. And I think that's where this can become kind of a tower, where it's like it can become a tower because it's like your energy gets split. And this happens to me sometimes with ADHD, right? Where it's like I need to anchor in what's going on. And I'm going to share, I think at some point this week, my, finish lines and lampposts and what I use to bring, ideas into the world. Because I felt this like urgency, and not from a place of like, pressure from spirit or the universe or anything like that, but just wanting to bring that in. Oh, I'm getting like someone's relative coming through. That's new. I'm just gonna write that down to revisit that in a hot second. It's just somebody's brother. Wow. Okay, that was really loud. Yeah, so it's just this energy and the way that it can kind of be fragmented, a little bit fragmented, because it's like you're trying to pay attention to too many different things, and it's like when you're outside of yourself, when you're outside of yourself, not because you're focusing externally, but you're outside of yourself because it's hard to be connected to your authentic voice. It's hard to be connected to that tender place inside of you when you are trying to figure out which way is the right way. It doesn't matter. You have to feel your way through it. It's not like, even with, things that I'm learning now, like this process of surrender, like, existing without this need for, shields and stuff. Like, it doesn't, protection only serves you so far and for so long, right? Yeah. I just heard end of the line. Like, so it could be something that you're kind of putting a stop to here, but there's something about this energy split. And it's just like, it's not like this is all inside of you. This is all inside of you. And I think this antagonist position is just really understanding that you can overtrain for something, but that you can't train for fate. Whatever's meant for you isn't going to pass you by. So it's like you can work really hard, but like things will come along again in better and bigger and bolder ways for you. Like, so it's not like, this is where I'm just getting this like pull, like this pull of like tug of war, like FOMO, like you're afraid that there's going to be something that you miss out on. But like you can't, because if you're in that mindset, it means that you're in a mindset of lack, where it's like, that means that people are more provisional of your good than spirit, right? That means that people are more provisional of your light and your expansion than spirit. So who are you putting your trust in, right? So who are you putting your trust in? That can be the other message of this card too, right? Like, when you put your trust in spirit, everything, yeah, see, that's, this was just on the top. Everything is working out for my highest good. And it is. You have to believe that, right? You have to believe it. It's not always graceful. I wrote about that on the Finding Hearts project thing, where it's like, my dad rips his pants at weddings, and he's done it a couple times. And like, it feels like that's what spiritual growth can feel like, where your ass is hanging out in front of the whole reception and you don't know until someone's like, oh, yeah, you should just know that. Right? So it's like not the most graceful process, but it's like, if you put your faith in other people, it will encourage you to play small. And that's how you give your power away, right? It's not about putting your faith in people, because I believe that it's important to have faith in what people can bring to the table and how you can engage with one another. But if you believe that your good comes through, specific things or people that will pass you by, missing the point of the process, And that's where I feel like this Knight of Pentacles is really loud, and there's this reflection. Like, it's, what are you comparing your good to? What are you comparing your good to? Yeah. And I think that's sort of the story here, is how you navigate relationships and connections. Do you play small? This is Gemini energy with the Lovers. This is that choice. This is the primary challenge that you're facing today, this week, ongoing. It's like how you choose. And because the Sun is here as the overcoming, I'm saying it's how you choose your power, how you choose the way that you shine, right? How do you choose those things? Because you do, and it's such a subtle thing. And I get this feeling that you're sort of moving away. This is some travel energy as well. It's like you're moving away from things that keep you playing small, because the Nine of Cups is antithetical to playing small. This is playing big, and this is not just like, this is playing for keeps, but for you. This is playing for keeps, but for what's important to you and the way that you show up. And what's important to you. And when you do you for a while, right? Because when you do you for a while, like I've been doing that for some time, and it's like, sometimes it can feel like it gets quiet. But the point is not to have it all figured out, right? Because you can only know yourself and how well you're choosing to rise to the occasion. You can only know that. You can't, you can, there's like this, it's almost like this, I'm seeing like, oh, okay. I'm seeing like an atlas of no ability, like this appendices of no ability. Um, yeah, it's like an index that you can filter through, but that's like, there are reasons, there are reasons why. There are reasons why the stuff that it's okay. There's a lot of info that's like trying to ram itself through. It's one lane, so there's a lot that you can't know and understand on the journey. But the point isn't to know it all in order to experience. The point is, um, the point is to choose something that's going to make you feel big on the inside. You know, I heard it in I think it was a movie once, I think, but it was just talking about how, like, stay close to people that make your insides feel like this. Not because they do something for you that you're not doing for you, but because that's how you recognize it, because you're already doing that for yourself. You're already choosing you, right? You're already prioritizing your energy. And that's where it's like everything is working out for your highest good. It is. So let's clarify a little bit. I'm just going to do minor clarification here because I feel like the message is pretty profound and loud this morning. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for August 2nd? Some clarifying messages here. Can you clarify this 9 of Cups and 6 of Wands? Nope, Swords, Empress. Yeah, this is you. Like, I think this is you moving away from things that make you feel like anything less than the Empress. Not because you're engaging in like covert contracts of like, I do this and then you provide me with the feeling. No, you're engaging in situations where you say, I am going to, I know that this is how I feel. I know that this is what I want. And this is who I am and how I'm showing up for myself. And so that's how it's going to be. And it's like engaging people at a different level because it's not expecting people to do something for you. It's not expecting that. The Lovers coming out to clarify the Lovers in the Sun. So I do feel like this could be about a relationship for some folks, this is just a way of doing relationships, right? A way of doing them. For me, it came through transness, right? It came through transness where I talked about this before, but it's like in order to transition, I really had to face a lot of codependent tendencies that I had. That was, you know, a lot of people talk about like sobriety, and that's what that was for me, was like, you have to really get clean of wanting to please other people when who you are in the world in so many different places is not okay. And when you have to justify almost, and people ask these really not great or they're kind of inappropriate questions, like it's no one's business, but like it's that kind of thing where you have to constantly negotiate these boundaries and say, no, this is what's happening now. This is what's happening now. And it's also understanding too that it's like your joy is also communicating with you at any given moment. And that's where this Empress is like drawing energy towards you. It's drawing energy as opposed to your energy being drawn upon. And that's the difference, right? That's the subtle but very important difference. I just heard Capricorn. Could be where Capricorn sits in your chart. Could be something to do with paternal energy, because Capricorn is the 10th house, and that tends to be read as paternal energy. You know. Six of Cups. I think this is a bit of a return to innocence. Because when you're stuck in the details, it's really hard to feel like innocently excited about something, because the details are, it's like you need the details. You need the details because You need the details because you have a belief that spirit isn't providing something, right? And that's, again, this is right on the top. It was underneath this card. I am loved and supported by life. So, I mean, we're pulling these at different, but notice we're pulling these at different times. Usually it's at the end, but Spirit's like, no, we're going it. We're doing this as we go. So notice all the ways you are being supported. Complete this sentence 10 times. Seriously, do this. Do it in a journal. I do this quite often mentally when I wake up. I'm like, life is supporting me today through, by, how, like that. It's just, life is supporting me by, a cool place to sleep that escapes the heat, by sheets that I just washed that I love snuggling up under. Clean sheet day is my favorite. But it's like, and it's like, oh, a cup of coffee, dark roast, just the way like I like it. And, life is supporting me by nourishing sleep. It's been kind of evading me lately, but it's restful what I do get to an extent, but it's like all of these things, but also don't do things that you have to justify. That was me trying to be like, well, sleep, but for those who are getting deep sleep, like that's a thing, right? So nonetheless, like life is supporting me by, and really sinking into that and doing that exercise. I think that's it's I'm hearing that's what's on the other side of this. Yeah. Death card and the sun. The depth of transformation. What was under here? The Knight of Wands. And quickly. Like that's to me like a pace a little bit. Because it's like this, the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups is like the truth. There's truth that arrives, and it's like this momentum, because we also have the Ace of Wands and the Chariot. Like, are you kidding me? Like there's something it's like a shift. It's almost like I'm seeing the Chariot move quickly and something get like dislodged. And I was watching Channing Nicholas, or Channing Nicholas, on Instagram today, just like flipping through and talking about like, with the transits that are about, it's like, it's a good time for things to get like knocked loose, but then right into place, right? Like, it's like, it's like something gets knocked off the dashboard of your car while you're driving, for example. I don't really keep anything there, but let's say someone has like a GPS thing, and then it falls right into the place where it was supposed to go anyway. Like it's like something like that, where it's just like things are just going to fit exactly as they were meant to. And I feel like there's a lot of new here, so it might feel a bit uncomfortable, but it's trusting. I think it's trusting in the ride, because there's something that's resonating about it in your heart center. There's a depth of truth. I think everything's sticking to me. I think that it's a depth of truth, and I think that the truth will set you free. I'm seeing the scene in Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. The truth shall set you free. But that's kind of what this is like, though. Like it's like who you are sets you free, but you have to like sink into it and be it, right? It's like you have to sink into it and be it first. And I feel like it's almost like this is like it's this slow transformation that's been taking place, but you've got this completely. You've got this. It's like the sun showing up again, right? These repeating cards. In some spreads, it reflects like dual energies, right? The energies of one and the energies of the other person or people. And I feel like here it's like it's speaking across in terms of the way that it shows up for me. Is like it can do that. It can show like it's Sassy Scorpion Tarot that does this, but it's like it shows up in terms of like this is your energy and their energy, and it's showing up again and again, right? But for what I read here is the way that it kind of clarifies the stories of how they get there, right? There's this choice with this Gemini and Lover's energy in the sun, and then it carries over into this expression of truth. This expression of truth. It's like I'm seeing instead of ace, it's like I'm seeing authenticity, like I'm seeing authenticity. Like there's a way that you're showing up authentically that's like irrevocable. The Six of Swords came out. So the Knight of Swords here. Okay, so I'm bouncing back and forth. Sorry about that. But to clarify the last of this row, the Knight of Swords is showing up because it's almost like moving away from, and that's where this Six of Swords, it's like moving away from this like bouncing back and forth, right? And the thing about this energy too is that if you're feeling like you're kind of going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, it can feel non-committal when it comes to other people. If you haven't had a conversation about shared meaning and what things mean for both or multiple people in that room, it's really important to it's important to get to that place. But if this is just you, I almost feel like this is it's like taking the fire that you might have, even that you might have been in if you were in this Knight of Wands place. This isn't to say non-committal in terms of person or relationship styles. This is I almost get this as like going from the Ace of Wands to the Knight is the maturation of the passion within you. And now you have the energy to direct it. This is like a pace. Like, it's like now you have this sort of authenticity, and it's this maturation process of your truth coming to the fore and being unstoppable. The Chariot's here. That's that. I feel like that's like that inward facing energy. And then the Knight is this outward facing energy because you have places to put it. You understand it in a much clearer way. And it's this move away from, again, clarifying this here. How do you unlock this Empress? You move away from situations that split your energy, or I mean, because it's swords, a lot of the time, if we take responsibility, we realize that either we are giving too much and then being upset that other people are not behaving in the way that we want. So we need to like call it back to ourselves. Like this is to me about moving away from, using your energy in ways that drain you, right? Using your energy in ways that drain you. And then the Two of Swords on the bottom. Yeah. And that's where I feel like that's where the details come to the fore. That's how the details emerge, right? That's how they emerge, because you're clear. You're clear. Maybe it's clairs. Like it could be claircognizance, clairsentience, clairaudience, whatever. It could be that those come to the fore, and that's a gift that you're unlocking here. Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a lot here in terms of long term. So this is starting to get long. So I'm gonna cap it here, but. So hope floats. Okay. Dear you, oh my, things are stirred up and change is upon you. This is cause for celebration. No need to be nervous, but know that it's okay to be afraid when faced with the uncertainties of life. The funny thing is that courage doesn't get mustered in the absence of fear, rather in spite of it or even because of it. Oh, love that. Gonna read it one more time. Freaking love it. The funny thing is that courage doesn't get mustered in the absence of fear, rather in spite of it or even because of it. Step into the unknown now, this year. Step into the unknown. Let go of the branch you're clinging to and let Spirit take the wheel and help steer you to your highest good and most wonderful adventure. All you need to concern yourself with is choosing courage as your ally. Leave the rest up to us. There's a load of miracles being shipped your way. Remember what philosopher Joseph Campbell said? Take one step toward the gods and they will take 10 toward you. We're all doing the Destiny Cha-Cha on your behalf. That's right. Don't be afraid to dance. Loving you always. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot that it's almost like this reflection before the momentum starts going. My third eye is itchy. It's like the pause before the momentum, before the party gets started. That's what I just heard. So yeah. And I mean, the Ten of Pentacles on the bottom, that's one hell of a party. And then the Four of Wands was trying to come out and it's on the other end. So it's a pretty big party. Yeah, so this is your reading for today, my darling daily creatives. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful day ahead of you, and as always, wherever this finds you on the time space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.